Welcome back to Wrist Check Podcast. The gang is together again for episode 66.
66.
As we progress throughout the series, I know you guys been watching us and listening for a while. This is the team season, as I'm calling it. Many people have expressed that we've been pretty interview heavy, and they love the interviews, but we figured this season we just give you more of us. Not to say that we don't have any interviews coming. We've got some people lined up, working out some scheduling, but definitely this is turning out to be a season where we're spending a lot more time together, and I'm enjoying it. For those new to watching or listening, allow us to introduce ourselves. My name is Perry.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Rashawn.
And we make up the Wrist Check Podcast. So, guys, there have been some events lately that you've attended. I kind of want to talk about what you guys have been up to. So I know recently you had the Watch Pro Awards.
Yes.
And we were all invited. Unfortunately, I couldn't attend. Maybe I'll get there next year. But I saw there was a picture of you with our friends from Win Vintage. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, the event was actually really fun. It was like held at Cipriani, which was like the downtown one, and like Fight Eye. Ben also attended as well. But it was fun.
Pretty swanky.
It was very
swanky.
Very swanky.
I was told the attire was black tie and right.
Yeah, he came very snazzy, white dinner jacket.
Yeah, there's no proof of it though.
Okay. super.
We were in and out. The awards went like
the awards went by very fast, but it was good to kind of like catch up with good friends in the industry.
Right.
A lot of new friends and old. Zach was there. Shout out to Zach. JJ, of course, she's everywhere.
It's crazy. I didn't even see JJ when I got there.
Yeah.
Zach called me out because I walked in with my lady, and we walked right past them through all the tables, and I was like, oh shit, they're making an announcement. We can't walk back.
Yeah.
So we stopped moving, and I just look up and I just see him go and nod at me.
Nice.
Like an hour and a half in.
Yeah.
But it was a good time.
Yeah. No, it was a good time.
Watch Pro is a like online watch publication.
Yeah. They're based in the UK, so they've had the awards in the UK a bunch.
Was this the first time they'd done it?
The first time here in the States.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, they had a lot of partners. eBay
Wolf,
watches.
Wolf was a sponsor.
Wolf was a sponsor.
Shout out to Wolf.
Who else was a sponsor?
There was a lot of stuff I never even heard of, to be honest.
Yeah, but it was a good time. The biggest highlight of the night for me, I think, was Eric winning the award for
Watch. It was like Watch Online Retailer.
Best Watch Online Retailer. Him, his wife, and Charlie accepted the award.
That's awesome.
They were all in attendance, and I got to meet his wife. She's really, really nice.
That's tight. That's
good. And
we were recently, I know we got invited to another event. Shout out to our friend Taylor and Jessica Chow. But they did an event for
Sonny.
And Sonny, shout out to Sonny, whom we haven't had in the show. Maybe
Sonny had us laughing our ass off the whole night.
So you guys were we were invited to the Viren event. They launched a new watch.
The Stereo Diamond.
Stereo Diamond. I like their style.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I like how they've kind of found their niche, and it's very like Studio 54, 70s.
Yeah, that was the inspiration for that watch.
And they just live there, like they own it. What was the event like?
It was great. Open bar, of course.
Nice.
The drinks were flowing, and a lot of laughs and smiles, a lot of photos. During the day, because it was in this really nice restaurant in Seoul called Little Ways.
I know Little Ways. Little Ways is great.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
And then like the upstairs area kind of has like, it's like this kind of like natural sunlight kind of
Yeah.
vibe. So it was like it was very radiant. I felt like it was the perfect setting.
the sun was still up when it started, but by the time I got there after work, and the sun was already setting. It was already dark out.
Yeah.
But I mean, you hit the nail on the head by saying Studio 54. That's what it looked like.
Exactly
There were
what it
disco
looked like.
balls everywhere. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good time.
No, that's tight. They really own it. And so they launched that new watch. And you said Sonny had you guys laughing.
Yeah, the whole time. The whole time is hilarious. It was 3 watches: a white one, there was a gold one with the diamonds, and the black one. The black one's my personal favorite.
The black one is dope.
Okay.
Yeah, the black one was a banger.
Tight.
So it has black diamonds in the dial. And then they'll probably, I don't want to say too much, but they were talking about, if we were to design another watch, what would it look like? So the whole table had like a powwow on what the next watch should look like. So I'm curious if it happens.
Okay.
So I'm just going to leave it at that.
All right. We'll have to wait and see.
If it comes into fruition, then it happened at the dinner
Facts.
table.
That's exciting. Listen, some of the best concepts and ideas are generated amongst drinks with friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolute respect.
100%.
Many congrats to Sonny and Jess. Thank you, Taylor, for the assist. All right, let's get into things. Before we move on, obviously, we have to have our honorary wrist check.
Yes.
I'll start. I'm repeating the watch. I'm wearing the 5165A, 38 millimeter Aquanaut.
Nice.
Not
Easy.
much to say. It's easy. You throw it on.
No need
it's
to take it
raining
off.
today. I felt aquatic.
Yes.
So I threw this on knowing that obviously I'm good. But, I think to touch on, your comment about easy, it is easy. It's one of those watches where you don't really have to think about it. It's just like I was in a rush to get to the studio. I was like, I got to wear something. It was on my nightstand. Bong, I'm out the door.
Yeah.
Not even thinking twice about it. And it's so light because of the rubber strap. You often forget that it's there. But when you look at your wrist and you see that dial and it's high legibility with the big numerals, it's just like perfect. So,
The loom on the Aquanauts or something that no one
love,
really talks about
one of my
often.
favorite things
It's
is
powerful.
to see this watch at night.
Yeah.
I
It's
love
strong.
it. Yeah, it's good. Rashawn, you got a dive watch on. What are you wearing today?
So I'm wearing the Diver 65 Oris.
Okay. Respect.
Collaboration with Momotaro. I felt it was very appropriate to wear this watch because I'm decked in my my Yankees gear.
And you got Tim's on.
And I have Tim's on. So I have
Very uptown.
Very uptown, very like BX.
Yeah, it's definitely fall weather in New York permanently, I
Feels
think.
like
It's
it.
been chilly
Yes.
and cold and rainy the past 3 days.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of like what I was going for was like I wanted to do kind of like a 90s uptown kind of look. Big baggy cargos, fresh butters, Yankee jersey with a Yankee fitted, and you got to have the thermal underneath.
Yeah, Fat Joe could probably.
The thermal is like uniform.
Yeah.
Absolutely have to wear the thermal. But Oris is an official partner with the Yankees. And we know that, the players and, the coaching staff, they do love Oris and they're branded everywhere. And it's super cool to see that they are getting that recognition and not having to push too much star power to kind of get their message across. So, I mean, I haven't worn this watch in as much as I haven't worn it as much as I wanted to, but looking at it now, it's like it needs more wrist time.
You got to take it to the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah, it needs some time in the water and
Yeah,
sun.
and the sand.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, I love that piece. It's very New York. The dial always reminds me of the Statue of Liberty, which I see you got like an image of the Statue.
Yeah,
of Liberty
on his
inside
hat.
your hat. So
Yeah.
that
Channeled a little
cheers
bit.
for coordination.
Yes. Yes.
Ben, you got a new watch on the wrist.
Yeah, so that's one of 3 interesting things on the couch I'm going to point out.
Okay.
It's my first time wearing a dive watch on the show.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's the first time we all have
Dive
the
watches.
same tool watch on.
Sure.
Right? Same function. And yeah, it's a new watch for me. So I'm wearing the Swatch Blancpain 50-Fathom collab.
Woo! Hot off the presses.
Shout out to Sammy.
Shout out to
Popping watches
Sammy.
on Instagram. My boy's been working hard in the city at this stupid UN council, stuck in traffic, patrolling the streets. He's been making daily trips to Times Square and trying to hook everybody up with a
Sammy,
Swatch.
I need mine. Where's mine's at?
Yeah, I need another one.
I need an Antarctic.
Yeah, this it's a new watch alert, but it's not gonna be on my wrist. It's staying in the family though. I'm gonna give it to my girl. She's gonna keep this one, but I want the
Nice.
white one. We both want the same one.
Yeah, that one I think is the best one.
And the blue one's a banger.
Blue one is good?
It's on my exceptions list.
Okay, it's got an exception.
It's on the exceptions list. But it's nice. I mean, I've been wearing it for 2 days now. I got it late last night. Well, was it last night? No, yesterday was Saturday? So I got it late Friday night.
Okay.
So I wore it Saturday all day, and I'm wearing it now. I like the watch. I hate the strap.
Okay.
Hate the strap. We'll get into it later.
Yeah. We're gonna do.
I immediately
got to
change the strap. The watch is a banger though. Like I'm excited to see what the other ones look like in person. I love the orange and like the taupe tan. I love the zero radiation.
I think
dial.
they nailed the color.
Yeah, I think like we were talking like aesthetically is probably the best System 51 like swatch. And I mean it's good. I mean if you get your hands on one, do it. It's really nice. I don't like it more than the Moon Swatch.
We'll save
but
some of this
it's
for
up there.
later. We're actually gonna do a segment we've never done before. We're gonna do a first impressions, and so we'll get to dive a little bit deeper into.
Pun intended.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. I don't know if everyone ever made me laugh that hard on the show. That was very witty. Kudos to you. Yes. So we'll get into that. I want to take the opportunity to talk about some releases. There have been some watches that have come out over the last 2 weeks, and some of them we kind of missed, and I wanted to dive into them.
Pun intended again.
There you go.
And as a matter of fact, maybe this episode should just be called Pun Intended, because now I'm realizing all of the watches on the list that we're going to be discussing today are all dive watches.
Wow.
Yep.
There you go.
Wasn't even intentional. So, jumping right into things, this is one that entered the bungalow chat a couple of days ago. The Bulova Oceanographer.
Yes.
So, nicknamed the Devil Diver, they released a new colorway.
Fire nickname, by the way.
Yes.
One of the best nicknames.
Water
in watches.
resistant up to 666
66
feet. Sign me up.
Crazy.
Dope.
Crazy.
Dope.
They released a new colorway for the Oceanographer GMT this week. And one of our friends in the group chat in the bungalow sent it in. And not too many people were pleased.
No.
Yeah.
So, what was your first impression, Rashawn?
To me, it kind of the release to me kind of seemed like it was just like kind of thrown out there. It was just like something that was like in the mix. It was like, all right, we're putting out a new watch, but like just for the sake of putting out a new watch. Like the colorways were very generic and very like, typical. Yeah. Very basic. It's something that like maybe they could have like held on to and probably released it like in another time, or like when the iron was hot to strike.
Yeah. I think
it seems like they're a little late.
It was like super late. It was just like really late.
5 years too late with like the wannabe root beer GMT.
So
like,
exactly. So here's my thing. So if you haven't seen this watch is it's utilizing the colorways of the Rolex GMT root beer.
Yeah.
Right? It's is it bronze?
Actually, I'm not sure.
I don't
will check right now. I don't think it is bronze though.
It's bronze. It's kind of like it's just like a red gold colored watch.
Yeah, it
it's
says
rose gold tone.
Yeah, it's described as rose
steel.
gold tone stainless steel.
Yeah.
And what I will appreciate though, they got some balls though, because in the description it says a two-tone root beer bi-directional rotating bezel.
Nice. So, it at face value, the colorway is the same as the GMT root beer.
Yes.
And there were a couple of guys I think in the bungalow that were digging it.
Yeah.
But then there was another friend of ours he liked it, the watchmaker.
Coinman.
Coinman
Shout out to
actually
Hunter.
liked this watch.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad at him because I think the Devil Diver is a cool watch.
Yeah.
But for me, my first impression was sort of like, Bulova is not the brand that I want doing homage Rolex pieces. And that's what it felt like to me. It was like to take that exact colorway. It's like for you guys, this piece is actually cool enough to stand on its own. You don't have to channel Rolex.
Yeah.
And I felt like they were like, maybe for the guys that want a root beer GMT, they can't get one. Devil Divers for you.
But there's also better options and less expensive options. If you want a root beer GMT, like Timex makes one.
Facts.
They don't do the two-tone bracelet on it, but they have the colors on the bezel.
If you want the colors, yeah.
Yeah.
But I felt like this watch in particular has enough merit to stand on its own without trying to be something that it isn't.
Yeah. And I'm gonna agree with you because like someone can argue, well, why don't you feel that way about their like Pepsi iteration? And the counterpoint to that can be that the Pepsi colorway on the bezel is so iconic that you would expect almost any watch brand to make it. That's just, whether you like it or not, you have to just let it be. It is what it is. But the root beer thing, again, they're like very late on that. Like, why? Like, really? Yes. And then like the other thing too is like the only other oceanographer GMT that they have is a unique colorway to them. Yeah. Why not just drop the dive watch on the bracelet, because they only make it on a rubber strap. You could have made that on the bracelet or just make a whole new color.
I'm with you.
Agree.
Yeah. I think, it brings up the whole conversation about homage watches. And that is a thing, and people collect them. We know some people that are into them. I think that's fine if that's what you like, but I think that should be reserved for A, Tudor, and then B, brands that don't have as much heritage
or aren't charging $1,400 for a watch.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like a Timex doing it for $300, $400, $500.
Sure.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Next one we've got, and this one strikes a chord with you.
Yes.
So our friends over at Oris released a new watch, the Diver 65, which is a crowd favorite.
Yes.
We know a lot of people that love this watch, and this is the Chrono edition. What was your first impressions of this piece?
Absolutely love it. Yeah? Absolutely love it. Having the Diver 65 on a bracelet is always a hit, because most of Oris timepieces are kind of marketed more. If it isn't like a bronze piece, it's usually marketed for like a cool strap option. Like you're offering Momotaro jeans for your strap, you're offering Servo Volante for your straps. The cotton candy straps. The cotton candy, recycle net straps, and like their proprietary rubber. So like strap options or any kind of options outside of bracelet has always been their DNA. For them to put this watch, which you would expect to be on a strap, on a bracelet, and the bracelet actually is done really well, I was extremely impressed.
I was actually very, very impressed with the bracelet. I thought the bracelet was cool. It kind of channeled like old school oyster bracelets.
Yes.
But what I also love about just about this watch is just the overall aesthetic. I love that the Diver 65 is such a great model. And it feels like a vintage diver, which I think is kind of the appeal, right? It's like a great skin diver. But with this new Chrono edition, there's something about it that just makes it feel a little more current and super duper toolish. So it completely like takes that model kind of like out of the vintage aesthetic and almost repurposes it for like a contemporary kind of feel. And I really like the direction that they're going in with this piece. I'm curious. I would say it seems to me that the Aquas is kind of like their flagship diver.
Yes.
How do you feel this kind of stacks up against
I think it offers an alternative.
Yeah.
Maybe to someone who thinks the Aquas is too big of a watch for them. Now, here's another one that works as a smaller proportion compared to the Aquas in terms of case dimensions. Right, it's not as thick. Even though this one might be thicker as a chronograph, if you might go for that because maybe you just like chronographs.
Yeah.
The other thing too, and I mean this in like the best way for both brands, I like this watch so much because it reminds me of the Bell & Ross belly tanker.
Oh yeah, that's good.
I was like, oh, that looks like a belly tanker. I like it.
Yeah.
So those two good watches that I think hit two different kinds of like. It's similar aesthetic, but you get two different things out of both of them. So like I agree with you when you said that the Oris has like this like more modern contemporary look and feel to it, but it still stays true to like that old school belly tanker heritage that Bell & Ross is so good at doing.
Yeah, no, that's really true. And aside from that, like you really can't beat the price point, right? I mean, it's like $4,400 on a bracelet, 42 on a strap. You know, I think for those guys that are looking, maybe you're in the market for like a Submariner.
Yes.
And you're looking for something to maybe fill the void, or perhaps you just collect dive watches and, you know, you're just looking for something that offers a different feeling. Maybe a mix of like vintage and contemporary flair.
Yeah.
I think the Diver 65 is like a perfect example of a watch like that. This is a watch I would absolutely love to own.
One thing too that I've noticed, which I find to be really cool, is that Oris is kind of up in their price point.
Yeah.
Respectfully. There are pieces that you can get for $2,000. There's pieces that you can get kind of like in that middle sweet spot, but they've kind of found they're like buying at about $4,000.
Yeah.
You know, introducing some of the new calibers or some of the new materials with like the titanium PPX, all those kind of things. Like, I like how they're slowly stepping up their game.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, as much as we try to say price point doesn't matter, I think at a certain point, there is that kind of where you like, hey, dude, this ain't a cheap watch.
Yeah,
exactly.
You know what I mean? And Oris can kind of like put themselves in a space where if somebody is trying to say like, oh yeah, you're wearing Oris, it's like, dog, this is $4,400.
Yeah.
But also, I think to your point, it's like, why shouldn't this cost $4,400?
Why shouldn't it? Exactly.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't
I
it?
don't think you could look at any Oris and say this costs too much.
But even still, from a value perspective,
You're getting a lot of value.
you get a lot of value.
Yeah.
It's not just like a regular diver. It's
Yeah.
a complicated watch,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's a diver that's also a chronograph
Yes.
packed in to a 40 millimeter case. I think the thickness is like 15
Yeah.
Yeah.
for $4,400.
Yeah.
You know, Submariner is going to cost you $10,000.
Yes.
Omega Speedmax Professional is going to cost you
A Black Bay costs
$7,000.
about the same price and there's no chrono.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're it's smart because they're inching their way right now into like Tudor territory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like competing with them.
Yeah.
But still, like the conversation is we're giving you way more
Yeah.
than what you're gonna get.
Even with the use of materials, right? Like you mentioned it, like, yeah, titanium PPX, great value for the price. And then on top of that, people are trying to experiment more with like carbon cases and like more like, how do you say, like budget friendly carbon. They're doing 3D printed carbon. Who else is doing that?
Exactly.
Very
So
true.
even how they're doing that is proprietary, and you should pay to play when it comes to an
And
Oris.
let's be honest, it's a handsome watch.
Yes.
You know, it is the watch. If I saw this at someone's wrist, I would walk up to them and ask them about it. You know,
Yeah.
it's a cool looking watch. So, shout out to Oris. Congrats on the latest release.
Yes.
Could be my next Oris. I do want a Diver 65 in my collection.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out which one, but I really like this one actually. Next up, speaking of Tudor, and another diver.
Womp womp womp.
Yes.
So our good friends at Tudor
Yes.
released another watch last week. I hit up some of our friends who are with the company, and because they had this like kind of the rollout was really exciting.
Yeah, I was like, we were so hyped.
I was hyped.
We were hyped up. We were
looking
was
to the
hyped.
past,
Looking to the past.
something with the future.
And
I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, I think someone in the chat
I was like, it's a whole
like,
new watch. I haven't done this in a long
Someone
time.
said, oh, maybe a Tudor sub.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm thinking now I'm like,
I thought it was going to be like an advisor. I thought we were going to go
You did
old
say
school
that. Yeah, you did say
advisor,
advisor.
leather strap.
You say advisor.
but I'm thinking either way. I'm like, all right, I'm thinking
Yeah, there's going to be some fire.
There's gonna be something. There's gonna be something exciting. I'm thinking like almost like when they released the the release of like what was the
Ranger?
Ranger.
Yes,
like
Ranger.
leading up to that,
Yeah.
like exciting, not
Ranger was super
disappointed.
exciting. Yeah.
Like all right, this is what we've been asking for, is waiting for, and great execution. And I asked our friend. I said, listen, I see that there's a watch being released on Friday. I go to the website. I said, what is it? And he said, it'll make sense when you see it. And that's what he left me with.
Yeah.
And I was like, very mysterious. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did that almost like lower your expectations?
No, it made me more curious. I was like, it'll make sense. So now I'm trying to
Yeah.
think. I'm like, I put on my tinfoil hat. I got the map, and I'm pinning dots and stuff. I'm like, it'll make sense. What's it gonna make sense? I'm trying to like put the dots together. and then the watch releases.
And it's just a black FXD with a red and green strap. That's the same strap that the Ranger comes on if you buy it on the NATO.
Yeah.
Way to string me along.
I was very, very underwhelmed, but I think to our friend's point, when he said it'll make sense, it made a lot of sense.
It does make a lot of sense. How many times has Tudor given you the same watch in another color variant?
Every time.
Ta-da!
Exactly. It was like, so for me, it felt like, and for a long time, because we gave Tudor their props for, the show's nearing on 2 years. Since the beginning of the show.
Yeah, they've been getting props every release.
They've been getting a lot of love.
Right,
We've been getting a
rightfully
lot of
so.
love from Wrist Check Pod.
The both of you own one.
But
Multiple.
I have a FXD, but I have the blue one. But we give them their props because we say that, they kind of like pull a different rabbit out of the hat.
Sure.
This one seemed like it was very
It's the same.
But it was very it was something that Rolex would do. It was something that you expect from Rolex.
Listen, you're right. And you know what makes it really feel like that? Because you just gave us the Pelagos Red Bull.
Right.
Yes.
And so it's like the FXD, when that came out, we absolutely loved it.
Yes.
So this isn't a watch that we hate by any means.
Yeah.
No. Black FXD is a cool watch.
Yes.
Obviously should exist and be in the
Yeah.
line.
It just
Yes.
didn't need its own special
It
top
needed
secret
special
launch.
release.
It
Yeah.
definitely did not.
You could have woke up on Friday and said, "Hey guys, we just dropped a new watch," and I remember like, yeah,
That would have been better.
Okay.
That would have been better.
Even
Black
better.
FXD, yeah, I'm with it. Good. But to string me along
Yeah.
for almost a week
Yeah.
to release a Black FXD,
Yeah, it was not.
shame on you.
Yes.
That was not
Shame.
nice. That was not nice.
That was not. It was
That
not.
was disrespectful.
Listen, talking about the watch, it's a good watch.
Yes.
Would I own a Black FXD? I wouldn't rule it out. I think I'm still probably partial to the blue one,
Yeah.
just because I don't know. I just love that.
I
watch.
like this one more than the blue one. Obviously, I think we all saw that coming. But
If I had to choose,
be
I'd choose the
fair,
Red Bull.
I was gonna
The Red-
say
yeah, the Red Bull.
if I'm gonna
If
buy
I could get
one, I'm buying a
Pelagos,
Red Bull.
I'm getting the Red Bull.
I'm buying the time only Red Bull.
That thing is
That's a
fire.
banger.
Yes.
That's a hot watch.
It's Venom and Spider-Man, dog. I
It's
love that
dope.
watch.
Yeah, that thing is great.
It's nice. If I was to get one, that'd be the one. I'm not
Yeah.
buying this one.
So listen,
I do love the strap though. The strap's a banger.
you like the strap?
the strap's fire.
on the black one, the
Yeah,
new one?
it's the best. It's the best FXD strap.
It looks super military. I think
Well,
it's
it
cool
is,
as
and
hell.
I'm glad you mentioned that because Watches of Espionage pointed this out, and Hodinky did a story on it. So the blue FXD was for like Marine Nationale, right?
Yes.
We know the heritage there. U.S. Navy uses this new one.
They're using this
Yes.
exact one.
Wow.
Yeah, for a long time now. Apparently, the difference between
Oh, so they've had their own.
yeah, the difference between this one and the military ones, and it's the same between the blue FXD and the MN FXD, is that there's 2 lines of text on the dial instead of 4.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Wow.
No, listen. I think it's a cool watch. I wouldn't mind owning this watch. You know, we'll share pictures of it. It's fire. But man, I was. What did you think it was going to be? I know he shared an advisor. I was
Yeah.
thinking sub.
I kind of was like, I kind of was on board with the Tudor sub option, but like why I kind of like ruled it out was the fact that they're kind of like homage to the Tudor sub might have either been the
Blackbay.
54
Yeah.
or even they did the smaller Pelagos
Yeah, that's
39.
true. That's true.
So it's like maybe I just couldn't tell, but like I thought they were gonna probably even go something completely like brand new or something that just like has never been seen before.
So it begs the question at this point, right? Like, and being fair, Tudor has given us a lot in the last couple of years.
Yes.
Yeah.
They really have. When I think about where Tudor was 10 years ago to compare to today, they've done a lot of work.
I mean, they were literally not around a decade ago because of the nonsense they were
Not in
pulling.
the U.S.
Yeah.
Yes.
And to be honest, they're like one of America's favorite baseball teams right now, right?
Yeah.
Like the team is stacked. They hit a lot of home runs. They got a lot of heat, and they merit a lot of respect now. What would we want or expect from Tudor?
Because in
at this
the
point?
last year we got the Ranger, right?
Yep.
We got Black Bay 54.
Mm-hmm.
We got the new Black Bays, the 41s.
The
You have
41s,
both bracelet options.
Jubilee,
You got the Red Bull FXD, the Blue FXD, this new Black FXD.
Pelagos 39.
Pelagos 39, both Black Bay Chronos in black and white.
Yep.
That's 9 new watches, and the Black
GMT.
Bay, the Black Bay Pro, that's 10.
And the GMT
they
with
give
the
us
white dial.
the root beer,
Yes.
that's
They gave us a
11,
root beer.
and a white dial Pepsi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
What
gave us
else?
a
What
lot.
could they do?
Yeah.
Advisor, baby, come on.
Yeah, they should
I
redo
want
the
an advisor. If they make a thin advisor, like
That would be fire.
I'd buy one, a 36 millimeter advisor.
You know, so it's funny because hearing you say that, it's true. They've given us a lot. I think Tudor is one of the few watch brands that have actually spoiled their fan base.
Yeah.
They've given us hits.
Yeah. And they've done it really. To think about it, they've done it really well. Where you can take a brand like Grand Seiko
Sure.
that releases so
Yes.
many watches.
Yeah.
No, I think that's an excellent
Yeah,
comparison.
like Grand Seiko's felt oversaturated, where Tudor doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't. And to be honest, if we can look at a black Pelagos FXD and be sort of let down,
Yeah.
I think that speaks to
That's
how
a-
much
yeah.
they've done.
Yes.
Right? Because
Yes.
it's not this is a great watch.
Yes.
But it's like, if this is the watch that you released that lets me down, it lets me know that, okay, you guys have...
You're doing all right.
You guys doing all right.
Yes. 100%.
You guys are doing all right.
100%.
We got another one to talk about before we go on. And this one will be a great segue to our final segment. So, yesterday I was home. I know you might have been at work,
Yeah, I was
but either way,
working.
we were all in the bungalow. And the bungalow right now is just on steroids. It's hard for me to keep up, to be honest. It's just
Yeah.
the messages are coming in fast and everyone's
Yeah.
going,
Yeah.
but it's very exciting. And so I go back in, and there's a picture of what looks like a gold Blancpain 50 Fathoms. And I'm like, no, they didn't.
And you fell in love.
I did fall in love.
Yeah.
I did fall in love. As a matter of fact, and then even shout out to Danny Arango, who's been on the show. He sent me a picture privately of it. He was like, yo, check this out. I'm like, damn, it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
And so we posted it immediately. So I was reading about the watch. So it's not a gold watch.
Yeah, yeah.
It has gold in it.
It's gold in it. It's quote unquote 9 karat.
So this
gold.
is it's kind of funny. Let's talk about this, right? So this is a bronze gold.
Yeah. Same like Omega does and some other brands. Yeah.
Yes. And so it has, I think it's 50% copper. It's got 9 karat.
Yeah, it's 9 karat gold.
9 karat gold. And I think there's like some palladium and maybe another alloy in it to give it this sort of like kind of rose goldy.
Yeah, it literally looks like gold.
It does.
It looks like gold. Does not look bronze at all.
So I'm very curious about this. The watch is stunning. I like the strap, and it's a 41 millimeter, which I think is great. Right, it's a great compromise.
Yep.
Okay, so like, because when I saw it, I was like, it looks on the smaller side. I was like, is this a 40?
And that was the thing, because so the 50 Fathoms is like a 43.
Yeah.
The standard
Big
50 Fathoms is 43. That's why these Swatch ones are going to pop off because they're smaller.
Yes.
So the watch was sent in the chat. We said what we said about it, and it was done. And then like 2 hours goes by, and Hunter pops back in, and he's like, "Yo, this is $30,000."
That was crazy.
And we went crazy after that.
Yes.
No one cared to look up the price.
No, the watch was so hot. When we posted it, we didn't even post the price.
Yes.
I was just like, this is fine. So 41 millimeter, gold, bronze, Blancpain, 70th anniversary.
Yes.
This thing is a heater.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then 30 grand. I think
good.
it's like, it's
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
$33,000.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's why I said what I said. I was like, "Yo, that's not a Swatch."
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, "Is that not a Swatch?"
Yes.
It looks just like the yellow Swatch
Yeah.
collab.
It
but
does.
but that's the thing too, is like where it's so weird because these guys are all in the same group, but it's like they don't learn from each other.
That's good.
Because, you take, for example, what like Omega was able to do with the Moon Swatch. they were able to captivate.
They were able to sell more Speedmasters.
They were able to
more
sell
legitimate
more Speedmasters,
Speedmasters.
captivate more buyers, or and inspire people to actually look into horology more.
Yeah.
Whereas Blancpain, for us, we nerd out about watches and we know watches and we understand watches. We understand the history and the novelty. But even still, for guys like us, I'm not looking to a Blancpain in that regard, right?
Not in that category.
Not in that category.
That's Patek category.
So for you to try to steamroll off of the hype of the bioceramic, I found it to be you guys missed the mark. You missed the target all the way.
Yeah.
If that was the mission,
No, I
Swatch
think you're right. I think you're right, and I'm curious. So obviously, when you see the Swatch Blancpain release, and then a week later, this releases, that okay, this has been cooking for some time.
Yeah.
I was right. They planned this over a year ago.
yes,
Right, but still had more time. To your point, to look at the successes with the Moon Swatch and to see all right, how do we replicate this? Because the mission here, obviously the mission is always to move units, but the mission with a brand like Blancpain is to get back in your position of relevancy,
yes,
right? And that is almost at this juncture more important than just selling a bunch of watches. But the two can meet in the middle. Why is it unreasonable to think, right, that you guys could not have done maybe a 39 millimeter or a 40 millimeter basic steel watch on a strap for at or under 10K?
yeah. But they'd have to move because I think the original price point
Of a 50 Fathoms is like 13 grand.
It's 13. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's 16.
And that's what I was
at
saying.
a
It's-
44 millimeter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So that makes a lot of
So
sense. Yeah.
why is it the mission should be how do we repackage this, consolidate it,
yeah.
keep it premium, but hit a more accessible price point for the 70th anniversary.
Yeah.
Make it
There's-
limited edition.
I have a solution for that. Just do a re-edition of the OG. Aluminum bezel 50 Fathoms in a steel case on a tropic rubber strap, throwing the
Aluminum
NATO in the
bezel.
box. $9,800. Sign me up all day.
Boom.
Yeah.
It's different. It's
Someone's
different.
gonna buy it.
It's different enough
Yeah.
from a sub.
And it's
Yeah.
it's different enough from a sub, but I also think to the point where we talk about Grand Seiko with the limited editions and them getting outrageous, right? I think brands need to reapproach how they look at the opportunity of creating something that's limited edition. Limited edition doesn't always have to be something that is inaccessible.
Yes.
It's more power if your limited edition is something that's accessible, because
Then it
for a
actually
brand,
sells out.
it actually stands out. And for a brand that is super ultra luxury, like Blancpain is and wants to preserve, to do a small blip release right after the Moon Swatch and hit a certain price point, $9,500 to $9,800.
Yeah.
Right? Limited edition, so you don't saturate the market with inexpensive Blancpains, but you create almost exactly what happened with the Swatch, with this watch. I got to go get it.
Yes.
I got to go get it.
Yes.
And get this on people's wrists. Get them talking. Make it the piece that's equally as special as the Moon Swatch. Oh man, you have that? Let me see that on your wrist. I was looking at that. That's crazy. How'd you get it?
Yes.
That's what you want.
Yes.
And to your point, I think they missed the mark.
Yeah. I think you brought up a really good point about limited editions. And it's so funny going into puns and relevancy. When I look at limited editions, I don't think of limited editions as numbered. I think about when it was released in time.
Yep.
So when you look at that watch, when you look at, let's say even the Belcantos, for example,
Sure.
you will remember that this piece was in time.
Yes.
In the relevance to it being a time piece.
It's like a marker on a period.
Yes.
No, I totally get it. And the Belcanto is going to remind me always of that period when this small brand, Christopher Ward London, that though was buzzing and budding and people were paying attention to, hit a home run.
Yes.
in a period where more people were paying attention to independent watchmakers, here comes this brand that produces what should be $100,000 watch for under $5,000.
Yes.
Incredible.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's history. Excellent point. Excellent point. Moving along, but continuing on. So we now have a Blancpain Swatch 50 Fathoms.
I'll pass it around
in
so
the
you can know.
family.
Yes.
And this is in terms of, I think in terms of watch releases and us getting a new watch, this is probably record breaking time.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if any of us have managed to get a hot watch that quickly after it's been released.
Shout out to Sammy.
But
Shout out to
I
Sammy.
did mention that, though, that I felt like...
You did. You felt like people were getting these.
Yes.
They were. I posted that Sammy helped me get that the night I got it. I was in an Uber home and I took a wrist shot in the
Crazy.
Uber.
Yeah.
And then 5 people right after me posted them. And I was like, where the hell did that come from?
Yeah, that's what I was like. Where,
Yo.
my response to you was like, where and how?
Yo, I showed up with the watch and I was wearing my Daytona. So I took it off so I could put this on for the show. So I took the box out the bag and Perry goes, oh, you got it for me? Thank you. I was like, what are you talking about? That's mine. He was like, I thought you got 2 of them. I was like, no. He was like, everybody has one. I thought you got 2.
Oh, man.
But so I wanted to, him having this and bringing this in today, I thought would give us a unique opportunity to do a first impressions segment. I will let the gentleman who purchased the watch kick it off and do the honors.
All right. So to start off, strap is dog shit.
Okay.
People were talking about the Moon Swatch strap, how it sucks. It's so stiff. It gets dirty fast.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. The Velcro, that strap is the same exact strap that Omega will sell you for $250.
Wow.
Yes.
This NATO strap is ass. This like it's been raining the last 2 days. Like I've been wearing my jacket over my cuff so I don't wet the strap. I feel like I could rip it.
Ooh.
I feel like if I pulled it enough with 2 fingers, I could rip
me
it.
see this.
It is very flimsy and it is also stupid long. Like it's longer than a NATO strap needs to be.
Yeah, that's the one when I was
When I fold it over, it goes all the way down to the buckle.
So I took it out of the travel case and then it was like wrapped around the travel, and I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, damn, it's still going. Like, why is the NATO so long?
You know what I was thinking about when you said that you could break the NATO? This is kind of like pop culture, and you guys gotta research this. I think it was the funniest thing I ever seen in an interview. I was thinking about if Swatch was like, no, that NATO's unbreakable. And remember Ray J in the glasses? And he goes, yo, my glasses are unbreakable. He's like, I can break these. And he snaps it like a pencil. And then Perry's pulling on the strap. And I'm like, he's going to break it.
That's good. All right, so the strap is crap.
The strap got to go.
Okay.
Also, you have to wind the watch counterclockwise.
Yeah, you showed me that. I thought that was interesting.
No one's familiar with that.
Yeah.
But no one's ever on the System 51. I was one of them. I didn't know that.
So that's a thing on all the
It's a thing
System
on all System
51s.
51s. You have to wind them counterclockwise.
Huh.
So I obviously set the watch up good on. And it was fine because it was on my wrist. I was moving and whatever. I woke up the next day to go to work. I put the watch on my wrist. And you ever we kind of subconsciously realize that we put our watch on, especially if we have worn them like 1-2 days in a row. You don't even look at the time that we should have been up and you know it's set.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I put the watch on and immediately my face went like sour. I was like, why is the time off?
Yeah.
It stopped at like 2 something in the morning.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I wound this like what?
But you were winding in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I was winding in the wrong direction. So I'm on the way to work, and then I take it off. And then again, shout out to Coinman.
Yeah.
He was like, why did seconds hand move so you didn't wind it? And I was like, yeah, of course I wound it. And he was like, show me how you want it. And I was like so confused. Like, what do you mean? Show you how I wound it? Like, I wound it.
Yeah.
Like, you get into like an argument. I'm like, I wound the watch. He's like, no, take it off and wind it. So I wound it, and he was like, no, it's the opposite way. So he takes the strap off and
Yeah.
then shows me you need to wind the watch counterclockwise, and you can see the coil in the back actually.
Yeah, you can see it. Yeah.
You literally have to wind it.
You can feel it too.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
feel it.
Yeah.
It feels so like, but you wind it like a normal watch, and like maybe the mic picks it up.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's winding.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's happening.
Yes.
This is what it sounds like when it's winding.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's totally different, and
Yeah.
there's more resistance when you do it that way.
Yeah.
So it's strange. It kind of threw me off. Aside from that, the proportions are great. I can't wait to
I love the case shape.
play around with straps and stuff on this. It'll make it easy, especially this color. It's like this taupe and orange.
Yeah.
It's really good.
But yeah, the strap is really my only beef, and then it's just like, why is there no instructions in that box on how to operate the watch?
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't come with the strap.
So literally,
So there's a bunch of people walking around with Swatch plans with the wrong time, or just completely stopped.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny.
Another thing too, so it's a System 51 movement. There's no servicing and something goes wrong. There's no
Yeah.
battery replacement.
There's no nothing. So something goes wrong with the watch, you just gotta get a new one. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You gotta shell out another $400 to get a new watch.
Wow.
Yeah, and the movement's special because it has all this, crazy Blancpain Swatch branding on it. So you can't just get a new System 51 movement, it's just a whole new watch.
I'm curious if you would be able to just replace the movement altogether.
I'm sure you can. I just
Yeah.
don't think you'd get all that special branding
No,
and
you
stuff
wouldn't
on
get
it.
any of that stuff.
Yeah, especially because he was like Hunter was telling me, he was like they
mean,
say
it's
that
cool to
there's
look at.
one screw that holds the whole thing together, but that's not necessarily true. It's one screw that attaches the rotor to everything else, but the rest of the parts, if I'm not mistaken, are actually attached to the plate of the movement. So that's why you can't service it. You can't swap any parts.
The other thing I noticed too is that the spring bar is not a spring bar.
It's not a spring bar. You need 2 sets of Allen keys, and you have to turn them to take it off.
Wow.
That's wild. So
Yeah.
you couldn't put a leather. I guess you
you
could put a leather
could.
strap. You just got to take the Allen key out.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
also
take
it's
Allen.
like the easiest way to do it. Like if you don't have Allen keys at home, especially Allen keys that small, the only thing you can do is get a single pass NATO and put them through.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you wanted to put a regular leather strap, or I'm sure there's some rubber straps out there that fit already, you can't do it unless you have an Allen key. So if whatever spring bar tool you have at home is not going to work.
Do you know what the power reserve is on?
No.
51?
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's interesting. What I will say, my first impressions is, first, I would agree with you on the NATO strap. I'm not very impressed. I actually don't really like the strap at all.
Do you like the strap on any of them aesthetically?
I'd have to take another second look, but I would probably change the strap on all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As someone who likes NATO straps, and I buy them any chance I get just to have them. And it's like, it's long as hell. Look at all these holes.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Outside of that, what I will say is I am very impressed with the build quality of this watch. This is one of the most impressive swatches I've ever held or seen. It feels like a watch.
Yeah.
I think most swatches have a habit of feeling like toys. Even kind of the Moon Swatch kind of feels more or less like a toy.
Yeah.
This does not feel like a toy. It feels like a watch.
You think the weight of the movement has anything to do with that?
I think the weight of the movement makes a big difference. I don't know. I know this is their bioceramic. I don't know if there are any changes between this and the Moon Swatch. Doesn't necessarily appear so, but the watch feels different. Maybe it's just because of the proportions. They are substantial. I do enjoy the bezel.
Yeah.
I like the bezel a lot. That's a good
Yeah, it
click.
doesn't like sound cheap.
It
at
does
all.
not sound cheap at all. It doesn't feel cheap either.
Yeah.
Like, it feels nice. I think the dial is really cool. All things aside, not much to complain about. I'd say it's a home run.
I'm curious to see. So this one doesn't have a date because it's that zero radiation dial.
Right.
I'm curious to see the other 3 have a date.
So I thought about that too. I'm curious now, knowing what we know about the movement and how to wind it. How does that complication work?
How many dates are gonna get stuck in between? And,
Yeah.
If you had to rate this from 1 to 10, what would you give it?
I'd give it a. I think as a swatch, it's a 10.
Yes.
I think compared to the Moon Swatch, I like the Moon Swatch better.
Agreed.
And the reason why I like the Moon Swatch better, I don't really have a real reason, to be honest. I just think it's more of an objective reason. I think the Moon Swatch is just a little bit cooler in my opinion. I'm not the biggest fan of dive watches. It's not a secret. I love chronographs, so I'm definitely biased in saying that. But I just like what we got from the Moon Swatch, and like seeing like, I think that moment of the Moon Swatch being such a hype thing, and it's like, oh, there's an Omega Swatch collab coming out that's gonna be crazy. I didn't feel like that about this. I thought they were hot when they came out, for sure, but it wasn't the Moon Swatch, and maybe
it's almost impossible to recreate.
Right.
That
And so, and I think I'm kind of stuck in that feeling. But aesthetically, the watch is fire. I love it. I would love to see that on. I actually saw it on Instagram. Someone did put it on a leather single pass NATO.
Oh, nice.
It looked really, really, really
I
handsome.
have a good one that would go.
Yeah, that's
might
personally
go
how I
with
would
that.
wear it if I was gonna wear it. I'd be curious to see what my girl comes up with, but leather strap on that for me would crush. And then I already have ideas whenever I get my hands on that white one.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like maybe
That white one is great. To
I
me,
want to
it's
put it on a gray like single pass NATO,
gray, ice
like
blue,
old
something.
I want to find like old like military like paracord fabric and put it on like a gray strap like that, just so it can match that humidity gauge. I think that'd be cool. And another thing that I like about this watch is that on the side of the case it says Swatch.
Yeah. Just
Yeah,
I like that. I don't know why, but I like
that.
it.
No, I like that.
It's like a playful little quirk.
It is.
Yeah.
And the case backs, we didn't even mention that.
Yeah. So this one's an open case back, which I think is really.
And you
cool.
get like the little like slugs, the sea slugs, whatever
Yeah,
people
what
call
is
them.
that? It's a sea
I don't
slug?
know. I don't know what it is. It's some special little sea creature that lives in each of the oceans.
Ah.
But they're nice. I mean, it's worth having one if you could get one.
Yeah.
I will say this too. I am impressed by the for everything that the System 51 movement lacks. I think it makes up for it in just kind of like innovation.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a pretty unique movement, and then when you like check it out on the open case back and see how it like works, because for a long time I'm looking at the pictures too, I was like, where the hell is the rotor? I
Yeah.
didn't understand it.
It's
but then
invisible.
it's an invisible rotor, but the rotor is just a disc,
Yeah.
which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
It's like a sapphire dial kind of.
Yeah.
What were your impressions, Rashawn?
Oh, I mean, you guys kind of like hit it all on the nail.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel toyish at all. I think like feeling it and seeing it and handling it and also handling 50 Fathoms,
Sure.
like act like an actual one. Like all of the specs, they hit it with like, they're kind of like sapphire bezel, the exhibition case back, kind of like the bubble, kind of like crystal. Like I think it was like spot on. I like the chunkiness of the watch too. The bezel clicking, like, it feels exactly like what you're paying for.
Yeah.
Like that is, I think the price point for it is perfect. I think anything less, I think if the price point was anything less, I think they would take a lot away from the watch. And any more
Kind of preserves the brand.
it preserves the brand, because
But what's
anything
also
more,
interesting too is that's an expensive swatch.
it is very expensive. That's
It's what, like $500?
400 beans.
400.
What's the exact price?
400 flat.
400 flat.
Yeah, that's retail, so you're paying tax on top of that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of little
ain't
details though.
chump
Like I
change.
just realized like
That's Seiko territory.
Yes.
yeah, well it is Seiko territory.
Yeah.
Straight up, you can get a Seiko for that price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New.
A good Seiko.
Yeah, a good one.
It says around the case back, it says, immerse yourself, passion for diving, license to explore, ocean breath, protect what you love. So that's cool. I don't think any other 50 Fathoms have that.
So if I were Swatch at this point with the release of Moon Swatch and the release of the 50 Fathoms, I'm thinking how I use this to reposition my brand. Right? Reposition the brand of Swatch. It's cool to do these like homage pieces and collaborations, but at the same time, now you know that Swatch is capable as a brand of producing pieces like this and of this caliber that can excite people. How do we recreate that just under Swatch? Is it even possible?
I think it is possible.
100%.
However, what's going to have to happen is these are going to have to become inaccessible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there can be no
They're
more
gonna have to
50 fathom
create
swatches. There can be
their
no
version
more. Yeah.
of these.
There can be no more moon swatches.
No.
That's gonna have to be done because people are gonna say, "I'm not gonna spend." Let's call it like the moon swatch is $250. If Swatch did a version of it for let's say $175, $200, people are gonna say, "I'd rather spend an extra $50 and get the brand power of Omega."
Sure.
Or if Swatch is gonna do one of these for $3,
unless they can take a page out of the Christopher Ward London book and do something unexpected, something kind of groundbreaking.
Yeah.
And say, hey, we got this for you. It's a swatch.
Yeah.
And then people see it and they're like, I get it.
Swatch Belcanto coming soon.
I think low hanging fruit. I think low hanging fruit is like the easiest thing is like when swatches were becoming a thing, you would see guys with like the Grand Prix chronographs.
Yeah.
They were selling for a grand.
Those things are like $2K right now.
Exactly, like a grand,
Yeah.
$2,000. You'd see them. Actually, I have one as well, but
Flex.
you know, I got to put that out there. But the thing is, like with that piece or those vintage pieces from the '90s, kind of like it brought a lot of excitement back to Swatch.
Yeah, it did.
And if they kind of like just take a page from, you know, their old book of like bringing back the repros, bringing back the Grand Prix, bringing back the collections. Like, I mean, now they're kind of like kid friendly, but I always talk about like the erotic, like Swatch collection.
Yeah.
Crazy.
There's one with bunnies on the dial. I'm trying to hunt one down right now.
Yeah.
Erotic Swatch with bunnies. It's fire.
It's dope.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, kind of like bring back the fun in collecting.
Yeah. No, I feel you. I think there's definitely something to be said for that. You know what? Kudos to them. However, like they another home run, another collaboration. I gotta admit, when I heard that they were even working on a 50 Fathoms piece, I was skeptical whether or not they could not even match the excitement of the Moon Swatch, but I was skeptical on how much excitement they could actually generate.
Mm-hmm.
And they exceeded my expectations for sure. I want one. Can't wait to get one. I think I'm gonna head over to Swatch
You should try to get one today.
this. Yeah. And see if I can
Still
snag
early.
one up. But kudos to them. Before we end, I just want to say, you know, we got a couple of things that we're working on that are coming down the pipeline. The watch cases are still available on wristcheckpod.com. Mm-hmm. If you haven't gotten one, get your coin together and make sure you grab one up before they're all gone. Additionally, we are planning an event. It's our first official watch meet. This one is in collaboration with our friends of the Atlanta Watch Society and official CP time. And this will take place in Atlanta. We posted an announcement on the Instagram page. So visit there if you haven't seen it. If you're in the bungalow and listening, reach out to us and let us know if you wish to attend. We can get you the information. It's filling up fast. We only have space for approximately 75 people. I think right now we're at about 50, and we just announced it on Friday. So if you're in the Atlanta area, you want to meet, link up, talk watches, shout us a holler, drop us a line, and we'll get you that info. This has been fun. You guys know where to find us. Just go to wristcheckpod.com. All of our handles are up there. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, etc. You can watch it directly on the website as well. And this has been fun. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
Deuces.